What is up, and welcome in to the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. I'm your host, Ezra McCann, and I'm joined, as always, by my outstanding co-host. He's a Chicago public league legend. He's a Simeon legend. He's a Grambling State legend. He played second base for the Tigers back in the day. He was all swag as Brandon Williams, a.k.a. Coach Smoke. And we've got our NFL draft analyst for NBC Sports Chicago. You can catch all his work at NBCSportsChicago.com. This is his time of year. The draft is coming. We're just about to the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, the Senior Bowl's coming up.
Well, Luke Getzky is the head coach.
Head coach of one of the Senior Bowl teams. But he's Glenn Morgan. He's our GM. Gentlemen, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
As a matter of fact, man, now that you mentioned it, man, I need to talk. Talk about Kevin Warren come to the Bears and being the Charger. I need to talk to our Kevin Cross, see if I can get some funds to go to the Senior Bowl, get to Alabama, get to Mobile, check out the Senior Bowl firsthand to talk to some of these players.
If I were you, I would let him win some games in Madden. It might soften him up a little bit. That's just my advice to you. So definitely do that. We got a really special episode for you. We got a great guest in line to talk some Bears football. You've seen them all over the sports media platforms: Big Ten Network, Pac-12 Network, Sirius XM, 670 The Score. You see him on Bears Postgame Live on Fox 32. He's a former Iowa Hawkeye. He's a Bolingbrook Raider. None other than Anthony Herron. Anthony, how are you, man? Glad you're here, man.
Outstanding. Really glad we can make this work, man. I've been looking forward to doing this for a minute.
Oh man, appreciate it. Hey, did you play with Greg Williams at Bolingbrook?
I did. So Greg's senior year at Bolingbrook was my freshman year. So I wasn't on varsity yet my freshman year, but the year he won State Player of the Year was the same year Donovan McNabb was
right.
And Greg ended up beating him out for State Player of the Year that year. But my freshman year was Greg's senior year.
So I was a freshman that year too. I was at Mount Carmel.
Okay.
My freshman and sophomore year. So I was there with Donovan McNabb. And let me tell you, those two dudes, man. I was talking probably the two in this area, the two best high school quarterbacks I've ever seen. No doubt about it. No doubt.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And Greg ended up, like, when he went to North Carolina, they were trying to figure out, because he had all the physical potential. Is he a receiver? Is he a DB? Can he play a little running back? Maybe a quarterback, but in college, he was basically a triple option quarterback in high school. So they kind of knew he wasn't really going to be a college QB, but he had a lot of different opportunities. Ended up settling in at DB, and now has been a coach in the league for a long time, and he's been coaching the NFL for quite a while at this point with a variety of different teams.
Wow. Good stuff. So, man, let's get started, man. The Bears announced the hiring of Kevin Warren. He was introduced to the media yesterday as we speak. I think it's a home run hire for the Bears. This is a guy obviously has done great work with the Big Ten, his past with the Vikings, with the Rams. But my question is, what do you think attracted him to this Bears position?
But my impression, I haven't had a chance to have, I suppose, an off the record conversation with him yet or anything, because that was the big hang up in my head the entire time was, the initial period where he took over as Big Ten commissioner was very turbulent, as I'm sure you guys know. He'd only been on the job for a few weeks essentially, and then COVID hits and shuts down the world. And, he's still really just getting to know the names of his entire staff at the Big Ten, let alone getting out to the campuses like he intended, meeting all the presidents and chancellors. And there was just no opportunity to do any of that once the basketball season got shut down. And once the decision got made to essentially to shut down the Big Ten football season as it was approaching, then of course he had just all these slings and arrows coming at him. And so for that initial really year, even after he and other Big Ten presidents and chancellors, they made the decision to reinstate the season, and Ohio State makes a college football playoff and things go well. They make the national championship game, but it was still, you could tell he was still kind of getting his sea legs for a minute. And then eventually once you kind of got through that initial phase and some COVID protocols were in place, he's able to get around and kind of glad hand with a few more people and frankly, just get his bearings a bit more than what he had. Then you really saw the true personality of Kevin Warren take over. And now, of course, between some of the deals he put in place for the Big Ten, he went in a very short order from being, one of the most, I suppose, talked about, one of the most, in some ways, infamous, leader in collegiate sports to being the most powerful man in collegiate sports to some extent in a very short amount of time. So I just kind of thought, you know what? Now that he's kind of gotten all that other stuff, all the negativity really in his rearview mirror, this was going to be really his time to shine. And he's had bigger goals than that, apparently, and really more specific goals beyond just being the Big Ten commissioner. So I wasn't really sure what to make of the rumors at first, but I think when it comes down to it, it's about quality of life. It's about preference. And I think it showed at that opening press conference. He's in his zone. He's in his space. He's in his most natural executive role when it comes to being in the National Football League. And he really knocked it out of the park when he was introduced as the Bears president.
I agree with you. And talking about his role in terms of being an executive in the NFL, I think in my mind's eye, I was asking the same question. Why would he leave the Big Ten, especially after everything he went through and where they are now, currently perched going forward? Why leave now? Why come to the Bears? I thought it's a step down in a way, but then I thought I had to rethink it. I couldn't think like me. I had to think, okay, if I'm Kevin Warren, why? And yes, it's Chicago. It's, third largest market. It's a charter franchise. And I said, next step, commissionership. I think taking the Bears job is that step right before you become the commissioner, potentially. Am I way out of bounds in thinking that? Because he seems to be a person and his family has been a family of first, the first of doing this, the first of doing that.
Right.
And so to me, that would be the first commissioner of a major sports, league.
Right.
I can see that being an ultimate goal for him. Am I out of bounds in thinking that?
Not at all, Jim. I think that he was an executive while he was with the Vikings. Once he got to that point where he was the COO of the Minnesota Vikings, there were already grumblings that maybe he would be someone on a path to eventually succeed Roger Goodell. Now, I think it's worth pointing out that while Kevin Warren is, I believe, 59 at this point, Roger Goodell 61. So there's not even necessarily a big age gap. And maybe Roger Goodell at some point in the near future gets to the point where he kind of feels done with being NFL commissioner. But I don't know, do you ever get done being paid nearly $100 million a year?
No.
Whatever his salary is?
I'll take it.
Yeah, I think that'd be hard for me to turn down. Looking at a lot of NFL quarterbacks who could probably, go ahead and sit on the couch somewhere, but it's hard to turn down those checks. But I think for Kevin Warren, he was in line for that possibility already, even when he was with the Vikings. And so now that he has added Big Ten commissioner and added all that success that he left the role with, then, he's certainly even just enhanced the resume. And you mentioned his family. I mean, to have a father who, as an athlete and as an executive had a lot of firsts on his resume, an older brother who had a number of firsts on his resume, it's really impressive when you look at the family lineage that Kevin Warren comes from. And, he's sort of just the latest in line, and in some ways the most prominent of successful, sort of acclaim that members of his family have gotten to at this point. It just seems like that's just kind of what they do in his family.
Right.
So the commissioner of the National Football League at some point, it'd be silly to think that wasn't a potential goal of his. I would say, though, I think he could have potentially achieved that even if he would have just stayed in the Big Ten commissioner capacity as well, though. So I think the preference, the quality of life aspect of it is kind of what I come back to. And there's just so much on your plate when you're a college sports administrator. There's a number of things you don't have to concern yourself with, when you're running one singular sports franchise at the NFL level.
Understood.
Yeah, and I think last week we touched on the possibility of him being hired, and GM, you spoke on the commissioner aspect. And then I spoke on how I think maybe he just wants the challenge of turning a charter franchise around. And then hearing his press conference, the way he talked, it was like, man, he has a lot of interest in turning the Bears from what we all know it to have been over the whatever span we want to go, turning it around into something special from the move to Arlington Heights to all the new things that are on the horizon with what we can do in free agency, all this stuff with draft picks, all that stuff. It looks like he's interested in building a new culture, newfound culture for the Bears. And I was like, wow, when he spoke, I'm like, man, I know I was just blurting something out last week. Like maybe he just want to change the outlook of the Bears. And then when he was talking, I'm like, hey, I was a little on to something. I was just talking out of just saying something. And, and to hear him talk, it was like, man, he, like you said, he won the press conference for real.
And Smoke, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And really, I mean, from Ezra and GM too, because the way the Bears are positioned right now as a club coming off a 3-win season with a quarterback just 2 years into his career, a first-year GM who's just completed, his first season in that role, a head coach who's completed his first season in that role. There's not a lot of real tangible evidence of future success, but there's hope, there's promise, and Kevin Warren steps into a situation right now that it feels like should be on the way to ascending, with the number one pick in the draft on the way. And really the main thing was just some of the excitement that was brought by Justin Fields as far as any real tangible evidence from this past season. So I don't even know exactly what do you see real evidence that was achieved, or is it really mainly about hope at this point?
Yes, to all that and above. You know what? I'll say this, man, and I'll say this until the last breath leaves me. This was the most successful 3-14 season I've ever seen in my entire life.
Absolutely.
And it goes into a question I was going to ask, because you mentioned, Ryan Poles, you mentioned Eberflus, these guys being, first year in their positions. Obviously, Justin Fields having this be his team, and we saw it become his team. I think that was a positive. We saw his leadership, we saw his perseverance, we saw his determination. We saw a lot of those qualities that people don't always talk about when we talk about quarterbacks. As far as being franchise quarterbacks, he exemplified those things, I thought, in abundance. On top of that, also Kevin Warren coming here, and Smoke just mentioned going to Arlington Heights. To me, I feel like the Bears, the organization, is on the precipice of becoming something special, and that's overall kind of like, to some degree, what we saw with the Cubs, where Wrigleyville became even that much more of an expansive aspect of the right. Cubs, more of an extension, so to speak. And we see it a little bit with SoFi Stadium out there in California. And I think, the Bears, it's going to transform into like a Bears Disneyland. That's to some degree. And I think Kevin Warren kind of sees it like these guys have these visions now. They're having visions about what it is, or they're envisioning, I should say, what it is and what they can potentially come. And I say to the McCaskies' credit, they realize we've been behind. We've been reacting to everything. Yes. We need to be in the forefront. Again, am I crazy in thinking that? Because that's what I feel right now.
It feels like there's an opportunity here to get on the ground floor of something that could become really special. I think a lot of us who've seen kind of like, what Smoke was mentioning, Ezra alluded to it also, just that we've been observing the Bears. We've been fans of the Bears for so long. And it's almost hard to allow yourself to get as excited as it feels like we could be, or maybe even should be, with the potential that's here, because it's a franchise that's always been ripe and always seems like there could be more, or should be more there, more sustainability, more success, championships, not just the aspirations from fans or the talk from those, kind of the main stakeholders, but legitimately being on the cusp of that. And it's just so rarely been there over the last few decades. Throughout a lot of the majority of the lifetimes of a lot of Bears fans right now, they haven't seen a product that is consistently really even approaching a championship level, let alone really being on the cusp of it. But now it feels like this could be the ground floor of something like that, from a variety of different ways, from having the QB that a lot of us feel like the QB is in place, and maybe a true development platform that's there for him that we really haven't seen the Bears develop a quarterback with. Then you add in all the cap space and the number one pick, and now some leadership that's in place that seems to have a plan. I know a lot of folks were really concerned, like some of my guys at the Score, really concerned about having a defensive minded head coach with a young QB. But at least Matt Eberflus, if nothing else, I think showed himself as a detail-oriented leader. Now, winning games, that's where he's going to be judged, and that judgment is going to come a lot more harshly starting in year 2. But at least for this season, he seemed to be a detailed guy. He seemed to have command of game situations. And he, even in moments where, might have disagreed with a decision here or there, he definitely had an explanation for why, they went a certain direction. It didn't seem like he was just kind of shooting from the hip at any point. So it does seem like there's a plan. There's competent leadership that's there. And at least at quarterback, there's immense talent. Now is the task, and Kevin Warren spoke to this quite a bit in his press conference where he got introduced as president and CEO. Now the work begins. Now there's a lot of that day in, day out, task-oriented work and the details of it. And even after all that, you can still be separated just by 1 yard or a few inches, from whether or not you actually win a championship. So that's the thing where we all may be disappointed and let down after it all comes down to it. But, it does feel like we're kind of on the ground floor of something that has the potential to really ascend in a special way.
All right. I'm sorry, I was going to say, such a low bar that a competent coach, we're really happy about that.
Right.
So we got this number 1 pick, and for the first time in my life, I'm actually experiencing this, and I'm having fun with it, right? So tell me I'm crazy. This is what I've been floating out there, and I'm trying to make it, come into reality. Could the Bears, do you think they could possibly trade the 2? Get whatever they could get at 2 to with the Texans, right?
I'll trade to 2.
And then trade down to 4 to the Colts. I'm trying to speak it into reality. Is that crazy talk?
Right. Kind of pull off a little double whammy, get down one spot, you accumulate some draft haul for that, then trade down yet again. So the Texans know they're in a position where the team ahead of them is not likely going to be looking to move on at QB. Now, there's no way to know that 100% with any certainty, but if I'm in Houston and I'm within their personnel department, I'm looking at the Bears saying the Bears aren't hungry for a QB and aren't likely to take a QB. Now, that being said, Houston's roster isn't necessarily as devoid of talent as the Bears. So if they feel like there's, say it's Bryce Young, we got to go get Bryce Young at number 1, then that's where maybe you're in a situation like the Bears were in when they drafted Mitch Trubisky, where you're willing to move up just 1 spot. But I think beyond that, Houston may be able to just display a little bit of patience, because if they're looking for a QB, the team ahead of them doesn't need one, and they still need help at a variety of other spots, like potentially running back and DB and pass rusher. And, Houston's going to be okay at number 2. So unless they just feel like we got to have the QB at number 1, I think that the Texans could end up being a difficult trade partner to go from that number 2 slot to number 1. But if you spook them into thinking that, we're going to make the move with somebody, and if it's not you, they're coming to get this QB, then there's the potential for it. But it could be difficult. You don't see it a whole lot. I mean, the number 1 pick being traded doesn't necessarily happen that regularly in recent years, but especially making multiple moves from there, it'd be a master play from Ryan Poles if he could end up making it happen. But it'd be asking a lot. And what you don't want to necessarily risk, and you mentioned going down to number 4, I feel like that's maybe the basement where you want to ensure you're going to get a blue chip player.
Right.
You trade down from 1 to 2, and then, I think 4 would probably be, Ezra, to your point, like maybe the lowest slot you would want to go to comfortably to say that not only can we accumulate a lot of additional draft capital, but we can still get a blue chip prospect, a guy who can come in and perform at a high level from day 1, because the Bears need that. They need help in a lot of places. You need a whole bunch of bodies, but you want to make sure you come out of this draft with at least and in theory, maybe even multiple blue chip level prospects who you feel like can come in and compete and be playmakers for you from jump.
Okay, so you're saying there's a chance. There's a chance.
There's a chance, man. I'm not ruling it out.
Hey, you gotta play the division rivals against each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Colts and the Texans.
All that. Right.
See, I hear what you're saying, and I'm in line with Ez in terms of trading down twice, but I don't feel you have to just stop at 4. I think because of what the Bears need, they can find that value, and I think that the needs more so need to be addressed on the trenches, both offensive, defensive line, as far as immediacy goes, because we have a lot of bodies right now, especially if this potential trade rumor from the Colts goes through and we acquire, say, Michael Pittman, for example, a wide receiver who's 25. Now, granted, that'd be a third wide receiver who would need his contract probably renewed, the following year. So that might not be as attractive, but another guy who is a potential X receiver, a primary target, and you can Claypool can be your secondary receiver. Anyway, point being, trading down, if you trade down to 4 and then say you trade down maybe as low as 10, I still think you can get a really good defensive lineman, whether it's an edge rusher to fit your 4-3 scheme or whether it's an offensive lineman that you need. So we definitely need that as well. But acquire 2 first-round picks for this year. I would really love to see that. But even if they can't do that, moreover, I want to see the Bears have at least 6 picks in the first 100. If they can do what the Jaguars did a couple of years ago and the Jets did a couple of years ago, I'd like to see us kind of make that type of those type of deals to get us in a position to get bodies, just like you mentioned.
And, multiple first-round picks this year and preferably, potentially, multiple first-round picks for next year as well would be a great way where you're kind of stockpiling that draft capital over multiple seasons. Then you got some fluidity, not only trying to build your roster with the picks themselves and having that young, cap-friendly rookie and early in their career guys on their rookie deals, but then also you can wheel and deal for some veteran players also if you do have key spots that you want to go make moves for, whether it's acquiring them within this cycle or you say, we'll build our infrastructure for this year, continue to have some additional talent around Justin Fields. And then as he's going into year 4, where there's still potentially 2 years of roster control, of contract control for him. And if we've built something, kind of put a winning culture together, not just a positive culture where it's a thumbs up, even though we lose games, but start winning some games this next season. And then beyond that, you still have some additional wiggle room, still save some cap space that you're going to need for that point also. Right. And it seems to me that the approach that's been taken so far has been patient enough from Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and now I know Kevin Warren, like his favorite word is methodical. I don't know if you guys noticed that in the press conference the other day, but he will bring that same sort of patient, systematic kind of approach to things also. So this will be an off season where there's going to be plenty of moves made. It's going to be a very exciting draft as well. But I think in the end, it doesn't seem to me that they're going to feel rushed or going to feel pressed to try and rebuild everything immediately. That there's a lot of money available. They should be able to accumulate a lot of draft capital. And then beyond that, you'll still, I think they're an approach would be advisable. My impression is that they're going to take it this way to say that, we can pick and choose our spots. We don't need to necessarily rebuild Rome in this one moment and have this opportunity season over the next couple of years to really put themselves in a strong position.
Hey, you've called the last couple of Bayou Classics.
Yeah.
We got a Grambling alum and Coach Smoke over here.
Okay.
Yes,
who's got the better band between Grambling and Southern?
You can be honest, because
you're trying to get me ball from New Orleans. That's what you're trying to do. You know what, man? The halftime show in general is one of the most remarkable spectacles I get to be involved in every year. Just to be able to be in that stadium in the Superdome when that goes down. Like a lot of times when I'm just calling kind of a standard college football game, I'll go leave the press box, go grab a bite to eat. When the Battle of the Bands is going on, man, I'll either send somebody to grab me something, or if I do go get it, I hurry back. And it's an extended halftime. You get the full show, and I just sit up there, me, whoever I happen to be calling the game with at the moment, and we will dance, we will sing, we'll take some videos. It's an awesome show, man. So I mean, whether it's hard for me as an old band nerd. There's always something I can appreciate. Like I was a trombone, so I was in that brass section. I did some marching band stuff in my past, man. So I can appreciate something that's going on at all times on the field, regardless of which one is out there.
Yes, sir. All right, Anthony, man, thank you very much, man. We greatly appreciate you joining us, and we'll definitely be listening to you on all the platforms, man. You got to be the hardest working man in sports media, man.
Hey, man, I've been telling everybody I'm trying to catch Regis Philbin, whatever that all-time record is. Michael Strahan's probably in there at number 2 somewhere. I'm just trying to climb the ladder on all these different platforms, get out there. But now that the football season's over, wife is going to whisk me away sometime soon. We'll get out of town for a little bit. Try to lay low for a little while, but it's good, man. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Anthony. Thanks for the time, bro.
All right. Once again, we want to thank Anthony Herron for joining us, man. It was great to have him on. He, man, just a wealth of knowledge and what's going on in both college and pro football and the Bears. I like what he had to say about Kevin Warren. I think this is going to be a definite sea change for the Bears as an organization. Hopefully, the top guy doesn't get in the way.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will. No, dude, because when we looking back at the press conference, and there's a certain amount of, I don't know if reverence is the word. I think that's there, but it's more of a look to, I saw in his eyes, like he's looking to Kevin Warren. He's like, there's an investment, I think, both professionally and emotionally, in a good way with Kevin Warren. And I think everything that Kevin Warren is as a person, it resonates with the Bear organization and the Bears as people. I think the Bears front office, for as much as we, as fans get annoyed with what, we see as lack of results on the field, we have to remind ourselves and keeping the forefront that it's a family run business, and this is their business. They don't have any other business. They aren't moguls from somewhere else that bought a team. They grew up, the Virginia McCaskey, this is, something she grew up into, and guys that married into the family. This become a family business. And a lot of times those family oriented businesses, they look to the people. I think that's the reason why some guys, we may say, why did Ted Phillips stay so long? I think they liked him as a person.
Yeah, from what I understood, he was like a real close family friend.
Yeah. And keep in mind, people, I got into an argument with someone at the bowling alley last week, and I have to apologize to Slim. Slim, if you're listening to this, my bad. I'll see you Sunday. But it was, sometimes we get caught up in, pigmentation and people's reasonings behind that, and what we, sometimes what we feel might be a reason or an unseen reason, or what seems to be unjustifiable moves at times. But you got to keep in mind that Lovie Smith was here for a long time, and now, we weren't happy how he left. He was 10-6 record when he was let go. But Lovie was here for a long time. And I think there were times, if
11 seasons, right?
I think, 10 to 11 seasons.
Yeah,
and if it wasn't for the relationship Lovie had with him, he could have been let go sooner. There were some down years where it could have happened sooner, right. And so what I'm saying is, I think they invest in people. And I think they tried not doing that. They tried to look at it more business-like. And then I think we got what we saw a little bit with Trestman, with the general manager that was here during that time. And I think when they took Ryan Poles, they're like, okay, well, we'd like him, and I think sometimes that skews their decision, but I think they've learned some lessons along the way. And I think with Kevin, it's like he meets almost every aspect of what they could possibly be looking for, both business-wise and as a person. Kevin started the show, to God be the glory. So he's a religious person. He's a person of faith. He's a family man. He has that investment. They're family people. Kevin had success, throughout his career. His family's had successes. A lot of things I think resonate. And so when I see Michael McCaskey, when he was introducing Kevin,
George McCaskey.
I'm sorry, George McCaskey. Excuse me. Thank you, George McCaskey. I think what I saw was more of a look to, like a determination, but a look to like I know we got the right person. Like we're in a good space right now. And I think we're going to see that play out over the next several years. And once everything is done and established in Arlington Heights and Arlington Park, that whole area starts to come under development with what the Bears have. I joked earlier about a Disneyland, but I think we kind of see like a Bears Emporium there, like a Bears Disney World. And think about that, man. If it's a dome stadium, Super Bowl being held there in the Chicagoland area, and that whole if the things are surrounding that Bears stadium are things that are conducive to parties and people enjoying themselves, and the hotels, all that stuff, man, that could be a huge money-making venture. It could become a destination spot. And I think that's something that we never thought we would see. That's stuff we see happen in California all the time. That's stuff we see happen elsewhere. It can happen here, and it'd be cool that Kevin Warren is here when that happens, and Ryan Poles could be the GM that switches that around, and Justin Fields could be the quarterback that leads that. And you know what I'm getting at when I mention those three people. And I think that is awesome, man. And for the Bears organization to be a part of that, I think that speaks highly about how they see things and how they see people, and not just people's misconceptions of other people. Does that make any sense?
Oh yeah.
It makes total sense.
Did you happen to see the picture, by the way, of Kevin Warren meeting up with Justin Fields yesterday
in the weight
room press conference?
No, I didn't see it.
In the weight room.
Justin was in the weight room.
In the weight room.
That I'm not shocked about. I'm shocked that Kevin went there.
I would have thought he was gone.
That's why I was like, wait a minute.
I was shocked.
I was like, wait a minute. Justin is in the weight room.
It's like it's off season right now. But I love it.
We're not even in the divisional playoffs yet, and he's in the weight room.
Dude, my guys, if y'all get a chance, YouTube it. It's like, hey, rookie, you're in the pros or something like that. It's like these guys, or they're not in the pros yet, but they're just like right there in the combine. They're doing stuff for the combine. It's four guys. It's Justin Fields, Michael Parsons, the tight end, Pitts from the Falcons, and then J.C. Horn, who's a cornerback for the Panthers. These four guys, they're highlighted on this show. And just like all these other guys, when they go to individual stories, like JC's having fun, dinner or lunch, whatever, with his family. Mike is kicking it with somebody else. Pitts is kicking. Justin's in the weight room. He's working out, and he's talking to this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, got to get him in." So no, I'm not shocked at all. This dude, he lives and breathes this stuff, dude. He's
different. I don't know if quarterbacks just hanging out in the weight room.
He needs a social, like his dog is his social outlet, dude. Uno is the name of his dog. That's like his social outlet. Like this dude, he eats, the discipline he has, even with his diet, dude. It's like it's every day. So no, dude, I'm not shocked that I'm shocked that Kevin Warren went to the weight room, but I'm not shocked that that's where he found Justin.
Well, he had to go find the quarterback. He was like, wait, he's in the building? He's in the weight room. What?
Well, but he also, being Kevin Warren, spoke very highly of the facility of Highlands Hall. Like he was speaking very highly of that. Like,
they just redid it just a couple of years ago.
And that's what I've seen, like watching a lot of different podcasts, how they spoke on that. Like the Bears finally joining the new way type thing. And silly me, like, oh, I thought that always existed. But okay, I didn't. But to go back to like the Kevin Warren situation and stuff like that, man, the overall landscape of the Bears, I really feel like we are entering a new day. Mm-hmm. I mean, all season long, even with the losing, I have said there's something different taking place here. The Bears are tired of being a clown franchise. And even with us going 3-14, I felt that we are tired as an organization, not as me as a fan. I took on the feeling like we're tired of being a clown franchise, and changes are going to be made. And like Anthony was saying, we're not necessarily going to see those changes per se next season, but they're coming. We're going to see a progression in it. And like with the McCaskies seeming to let go and put their faith into Kevin and Ryan Poles and Eberflus and Justin Fields, it's like this is a Bears organization that I've never seen before. I've never seen this before. And granted, like GM alluded to earlier, it has a lot to do with the people in place, if you know what I mean. Like, the Bears had a reputation amongst especially fans that look like us. Well, we wasn't too sure about how they felt about us. And now we see this, and it don't feel like they're just doing this to appease to a certain community.
No.
This feels genuine. This feels like they are tired of being a clown franchise, and we're going to do what's necessary to change the outlook of the Chicago Bears. And everybody keeps sending me the little video montage of the little bull crap they trying to do with Soldier. Look, move to Arlington Heights.
Yes, go.
It's not that far.
You know, I don't think the Soldier Field thing is not serious.
It's not even realistic.
It's not
then
serious.
What, y'all gonna play at U of I again? Who's trying to travel that far?
I'm on I told you guys about the Facebook sports group. I have my arguments in, and these guys talking about the Arlington Heights thing is just a negotiation ploy. But no.
And I'm like, people like
that doesn't even make any sense.
I'm like, do you people know the amount of stadiums across America that are not in the actual city that they are supposed to be in? The Dallas Cowboys is in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah.
You know, like this, they're not all in that city, especially
the New York Giants and the New York Jets
they're in a whole nother
play in
state.
New Jersey.
In a whole nother state.
Yeah.
You know, like it's
but not even just that. Just if the Bears commit to this plan and build out the stadium and everything that goes with it. You talked about what'd you call it? Bears Disneyland.
Yeah.
Hotels and the commercial spots that'll be there. You're talking about doubling the value of this franchise.
Oh man. Yes.
And Arlington Heights is not that far from Rosemont.
No,
not that far from O'Hare.
I used to. I'm letting you guys know I'm a degenerate gambler, but yeah, I used to go to Arlington Park sometimes. Not a bad on a weekend with no traffic. Not a bad drive. 45 minutes you're there. You know, at least from where I live, which is I'm 10 minutes from Soldier Field. So
right.
You know. But yeah, I'm fine. If the Arlington Heights deal is viable, do it. I have no issue with it.
Dude, think about it, dude. You could make it a weekend, like if you can make it like a weekend getaway, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You could catch a game. Say you want to catch a Northwestern game, or you know how to catch a game. Say like as is saying, you've got some betting venues out there. You know, you go out there, you and your lady or your friends, or whatever. It could be like a bachelor thing. I mean, dude, it's crazy. You can have a weekend hotel. You stay there in the you get catch the Bears game. It's a noon game more times than not. You know, you leave out the hotel. You don't have to come back. You know what I'm saying? And then when it's over, you heading on home, or you kick it a little bit longer until traffic wanes, and you leave at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and you're home by 10. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with the land, you have like you said, a district. What like most of these places call it, like a district.
Yeah.
Like I look at, and this is on the baseball side, but like I look at in Atlanta with the Braves' new park, and then they have the Battery, which is once you come out the stadium, it's like a whole world, a little community of bars, lounges, restaurants, cigar shops, all that right there. Like you park your car wherever you're gonna park it to get in the stadium, and then you in there for however long you want to be in there kicking it. And then it's like that's the way now. Like you brought up Wrigley, how they transformed that area. Like that's the way. And Wrigley has always had the bars and stuff, but they've even renovated that area.
They made it better, and then they made it so that they get all of the revenue that comes from it.
Like that's the way.
Say what you want. That's smart.
Yes,
smart. Let's move on. Let's get to the playoffs here. The super wild card weekend. They've had that term for the last 3 years now. 2-3 years.
I guess it's just like a marketing ploy to make it seem like it's more than what it is. But
I used to make fun of it. This weekend was a pretty damn
super.
good super wild card weekend, man. If I could say that, man, it was.
I don't know. There was some pretty crap ass games. There was some good ones, but there was some pretty crap ass games too, though.
What was the crap game outside of the Monday night game?
The Monday night game was kind of a crap ass.
It was, and that was it though.
No, didn't the Vikings get beat up on?
No, that game
No,
came
that was
down
a
to
game.
the
It
last
came
No,
down
drive.
that was last second. No,
Every game was close. Now
Seattle,
no.
San Fran ended up pulling away from
that was
Seattle.
close going into the second half, though.
That's what I said. They ended up pulling away, but
Yeah.
every other game was
Every other
actually
game, yeah.
came down
Now
to
the
last
Chargers
possession.
went up 27-0, and then somehow blew a 27-point lead. But yeah,
But every game
was
except the first
good.
game of the weekend and the last game, every game in between was one possession.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'm just thinking of execution. I saw some of the games, just like, man, they're not sloppy play. Maybe that's what
it was definitely some sloppy play.
like the Buffalo Miami game was sloppy to me.
Yep.
And it just left
Very, very interesting coaching with all the delay of games and all that stuff. Yeah, it was. Now I can agree there where it was some very sloppy play. I mean, we touched on Jacksonville with the way it started.
Yeah, how do you lose that
and,
game?
Well, let me ask you, who's to blame?
But Jacksonville.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Can I go first?
Yeah.
For the people out there, for the masses, I'm putting that on the quarterback.
Justin
He gets
Herbert?
a bulk of the blame. Yes.
He
No.
didn't call the plays.
On your fantasy
He
team?
No, he ain't. Well, he was. He was.
See, that's a little bitterness.
But I'm being bitter mainly because I'm tired of him getting all these passes and praise. Any other quarterback drop a 27-0 lead, they're blaming the quarterback.
That's not his fault. They only ran the ball 8 times in the second half.
Man,
that's not his fault.
Man, get in the end zone.
That's not his fault.
I mean, I get it.
He put 27. He put 27 on the board in the first half.
Well,
you should hold that lead.
No, the defense did. Because the offense wasn't that great in the first half.
True. They as a team put up 27 points.
The defense did, and that's my issue because you have people blaming. The stuff I hear is people blaming, of course, the coaches, and I believe they deserve some blame. But I've also heard people blaming the defense.
No,
like how?
They got 5 turnovers.
You don't have 27 if it's not for the defense.
Has that ever happened before? 5 turnovers and
4 in the first half.
5.
No.
All 5 were in the first half.
Oh, so all 5 in the first half?
5 was in the first half.
Wow.
And I can honestly say, if I'm correct, I don't think the offense for the Chargers scored off any drive but turnovers, except the 3 points they got in the second half.
Wow.
I think every point they scored came off a turnover.
Off turnover, positioning from a turnover.
Yep. Now 2 other turnovers came in what would you call it, minus territory for them. But 3 of them came in plus territory. And 2 of those 3, they got field goals instead of touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, the offense still has to move the ball. The defense didn't actually score it, so I'll give the offense a little bit of credit. But I get what you're saying. It was like they had advantageous positioning because of the defense, and you can't discount that. And the defense is like, what else we got to do? We got to score for you too, and maybe they did. I guess what I find interesting is how, because I really thought that the head coach would be fired to that, how he scapegoated the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. Those are the ones that got fired. I'm like, really? So it wasn't you? you ain't nothing to do with it.
Well, he has to be able to speak up and say, hey,
run the damn ball.
Give Eckler the ball.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdown runs. Yeah, and he had over 50 yards in the first half. Why are you not? He's a versatile back. Why are you not giving the ball to him?
That's true. But also, I saw a few of them runs. Eckler got hit in the backfield, lost yards.
Okay, but you still, so what? You still run the clock.
But I get it. You still run the clock.
You got to run the clock.
You do.
You got to shorten the game.
But
they didn't do that.
You run some safe passing plays too.
Screens, especially with Eckler, you can do screen. I'm with you. You know what? It's interesting because I'm thinking back to when Houston had a big lead on Kansas City when Deshaun was with Houston. You know, when Deshaun was still Deshaun before his name became Sully.
A couple years ago,
yeah. And the Chiefs, and it was funny. So I remember they were up, and I was like, "Yeah, man, that's a kiss."
It was a 24-0 lead, right?
24-0 lead, right?
And they couldn't turn to the run game.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it's like I felt like it was a kiss of death. I'm like, man, somehow I had a feeling Kansas City was going to come back.
They
And
came back before half.
Yeah, they came back like gangbusters.
They took the lead at halftime.
Right. And my point is that turnaround, that 3-score or 3.5 score turnaround is different than this one was. This one seemed like at any point in time, the Chargers could just score a touchdown or get control of themselves and stop the And they stopped the Jaguar a few times. It wasn't like, they couldn't stop the Jaguars. They stopped, but they couldn't do anything on offense. But it felt like this was more the Chargers' fault than it was Houston's fault when they lost to the Chiefs. I feel like they just the Chiefs turned it on, and it's just like it's just you couldn't have it.
You lose a 24-0 lead before halftime. It's nothing you could have, like we're saying, the Chargers could have ran the clock. You don't start trying to kill clock in the first half. And the Chiefs took the lead from
and 24 is that's not big enough a big enough lead
for the Chargers.
For
the Chiefs.
In the first half, it ain't at all. So
I had a coach that it had to be 40. You get a 40-point lead, we can turn the gas off.
But
it just felt different. It just felt like the Chiefs when they overcame it. It felt like that was because of the Chiefs. It didn't feel like Houston was doing a lot wrong. I feel like Houston just couldn't stop that tide, that wave, that tidal wave. Here, it felt like this was all on the Chargers. Like, dude, this is your fault that y'all lost this game. All y'all, coaches, execution on the field, Joey Bosa losing his mind. And what was that? Like, he didn't come back to the game, but
he should have been ejected. That was his second unsportsmanlike conduct.
So is that why he didn't come back? Because he was ejected.
But he's still on the sideline. That's what threw me off, because I'm like,
well, no, I don't think you have to. Do you have to leave the field?
I don't know.
For the unsportsmanlikes, I think you just got. You can't come back into the game.
So that's what happened. So he took himself out of the game.
So not that he didn't. He took himself out. I think.
No, I mean his actions. I'm saying his actions, because of his actions as end result. His actions is the reason why he can come back. So see, that's another thing. So I blame him for being a knucklehead, because it's like, dude, they need you out there. Like, you can make a difference. Dude, that was just a goofy ass loss to me, man.
Yeah, and it was the Chargers gonna charge her.
Chargers gonna charge.
They gonna charge.
Man, we're not saying Lions gonna line no more, huh?
Man, but I mean, I just personally want to come at Herbert, but it was a collective effort.
Yes.
It's like you don't lose a lead like that, and you don't turn the ball over either without it being collective. It's a collective effort, so Chargers being Chargers.
49ers. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so going forward, what are you guys thinking now going forward with these playoffs? Like, who are you seeing now?
Well, let's see.
I was about to tell you that. I like the 49ers.
Because
I like the 49ers, man. They got a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes.
He doesn't?
He didn't make,
or teams don't capitalize. Because I watched that first half versus Seattle. It should have been about 3 picks from old Purdy.
Hey, that happens, man.
I'm just saying. When you the underdog, you can't let those opportunities go away. You can't make those mistakes against Dallas. That's all I'm gonna say. And vice versa. And vice versa. I'm not gonna sit here and say Dallas can just go out there and play crazy either. Dak can't make the mistakes that he has been privy to make all season too. But if Purdy makes mistakes, he can't expect the Cowboys not to capitalize.
I'm still baffled. I'm baffled that the Cowboys were up 31-6 late in that game.
Even though I picked them.
Baffles me.
Even though
they don't look that good. I'm sorry. That's
just it. They can and they have. They just don't do it consistently. And it's like, Why don't you? There are times when the Cowboys look like literally for the last 2 seasons, maybe in the last 3 seasons, there aren't teams more talented than the Cowboys. As talented, but not more. Now, I'm not saying the production on the field is equating to the talent that's on the roster, but you look at them like man per man. I'm like, dude, like this is a super talented team. Like they just need. That's why it was like they just need a different coach. So then when I got McCarthy, it's COVID. He's got to get used to it. Players are injured. It was a lost season. Okay, you get a bit of a mulligan. Come in last year, and you make the playoffs. Zach's coming back from injury. They're looking pretty good, but they do time management was a problem. McCarthy's on the hot seat coming into this year. And so here you are again in a division where the Eagles are, the healthy Jalen Hurts, they look like a 16-1, 14-3 type kind of team.
That
you come in.
Sound right.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to do the math so I don't say it correctly. but the Cowboys at times have looked good. Even when Dak wasn't there, them running the ball and getting the ball more into Pollard's hand and using Pollard and Zeke, equally, or at least using them more efficiently together. It's like when they run the ball, play action with that defense, they're hard to beat. But they don't do that sometimes. It's like, what are you doing? And then you think, just when you start to believe that they're a really good team, because they whooped up on the Vikings and beat the dog's not out of the Vikings. It's like, oh, okay, the Vikings are pretenders. And then they come right back and then they lose a game that looked like they were trying to win against Washington. It's like, how do you look that bad against Washington? And then you come back, and to your point is, how do you beat the Bucks as well? Because I'm like, dude, the Bucks, look, man, that's an 8-9 team that was a division leader in a bad division. So I don't look at basically what I'm saying is the Cowboys have more talent than Tampa does. And they've been more consistent they've been less inconsistent than Tampa's been all year. So I'm not surprised that they beat the Buccaneers.
Well, I was surprised was because the Cowboys seem to not play up to their standard against lesser competition.
Like the Bulls.
And and I felt that they would probably, the moment would be too big, and also playing a team that wasn't as good. But I also didn't take in consideration that they did lose to this team to start the season. Right. So they went in as if this team was better than them, and they put it on their ass. The Cowboys is a very scary team, man. Very scary. I know everyone is high on the 49ers.
They are
but let's look at who the 49ers has played this season, especially under Purdy. They have not played any great teams. The one time they played an offense that is the caliber of the Cowboys, they got their ass whooped. That vaunted 49ers defense, Patrick Mahomes went in there and beat the brakes off their ass. This is the caliber of offense that the Cowboys have. I'm just saying, I will not be shocked if they go to San Francisco and put it on them. I won't be shocked. I won't be shocked. I get it. It's the Cowboys. A lot of people don't want to see it, but
we'll discuss it during picks. I'm not too worried about.
The Bears beat the 49ers. The Bears beat the 49ers.
In a monsoon.
I don't care, because in a monsoon you run the ball, and that's the 49ers strength. Run the ball. Hey, look, I don't care, because the Bears. Look, if both teams are playing in the same weather, it's not like the Bears are a better team. It's not like the Bears we're a monsoon team and you're not. This is Chicago. It's not Florida. We're not used to monsoons. So I'm just saying, it's that
if all games were played in wet weather, I would have gone to the NFL. Just letting you know. It's a different game.
Man.
Dude,
it's a different game. Some guys are just made for rain and some aren't.
The whole team.
I'm just saying.
I'm telling you.
Real talk.
We gonna see.
Hey, Ravens Bengals. Man, this Lamar Jackson thing.
Yeah, that's the other sloppy game. That's the other one too. I thought it was just.
It was sloppy, but it was still a good game.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it was hard fought. I'll say that.
It was hard fought, and when it came down to the final play.
What was you saying, Smoke?
Well, I was just saying it was a weird play that
Yeah.
the reason Baltimore lost. So.
Went from sugar to shit real quick,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
Well, why do you even call why do you call that
Well,
over the top QB sneak?
I don't think they called that.
So why did he do it?
I think he did that on his own.
Oh,
Do you call that, or do you
some-
call for them to do that?
Well,
I
you
think
call
you
a
call a
QB
quarterback
sneak,
sneak.
yeah.
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. If you call a sneak, that's on the quarterback to decide that they want to leap, right?
But I wouldn't have even done a sneak there though. You got a viable back behind you in Dobbins.
I mean, but a regular sneak wouldn't have caused the fumble, and if it would have, he definitely wouldn't have been free to run it back 98 yards.
Yeah.
It would at least been on the ground where somebody would have touched the person.
Well,
Here's the deal though. My problem is you get the 2-yard line. So
I understand
if you call it a sneak, okay. You're
At the
not
1 yard
leaping.
line.
You're not Walter Payton. You're not leaping. Not even at the 2.
No. I'm saying you call that at the 1 yard line.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not Walter Payton. You're not leaping over an entire defensive line and somersaulting into the end zone. No,
Well,
you had no chance there.
You get a running start.
Right, you need a running start to do it.
And he was coming on the center.
He was from under center.
No, I understand. I'm with you. I'm saying you should get a running start. I'm with you. Everything he did, the reasons he had behind that don't merit where he was on the field, logistically speaking. And the only thing I can surmise is that he probably thought, if I do this quick enough and I just get the ball across the line, I should catch him off guard. Yeah. And he thought too much.
That's why he's a backup.
That's why he's a backup.
And it literally was the fact that he was so far away.
Yeah.
Because he hung in the air.
He did. He didn't go anywhere. He just jumped straight up.
Hung in the air without getting to the end zone.
And he's not 6'5". If you're 6'5", maybe I might buy that you feel you can stretch.
No, because you still ain't going. You're not going to reach 2 yards.
I mean, yeah. Well, not 2 yards. No.
I agree with you. I said if you're 6'5", I'm at least buying that's what you thought. Not if you scraping 6'1". Like, no, dude, that's not a good play call.
But I gotta give him credit though, man. He still fought back, and he gave him, even after that play, gave him a chance to win, and they just didn't. Are we going to see Lamar Jackson in a Ravens uniform ever again?
It's starting to look like no. Like if they franchise him, he's not going to play.
Yeah,
we might see another.
You think he'll hold out?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. He already gave him a free year. You already gave you a free year.
But a franchise year is $40 million.
I understand that, dude. But so I'm going to sacrifice $40 million for $250 million or $230 million?
Nah. For you to
you're never going to get.
You're likely going to franchise me again the next year.
But you're never going to see that $40 million again.
That's not necessarily true. We said that about Dak Prescott when his ankle got tore up. Oh man, he shouldn't have played. He's never going to see that money. He's seeing the money. I mean, look.
No, he's not going to see that $40 million though. That $40 million, if he holds out, that's gone.
Sure, but if he plays for $40 million and he gets hurt like he is again this year,
I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying that's a heck of a turn down.
I understand, but so why turn it down? You're turning it down because I'm not going to I'm foregoing $40 million for $230 million.
If I were him, I would talk to his teammate Roquan and see what that holding in was all about. See if
he did that though.
If that works.
He just did.
He did that. He did hold in.
I was making a joke, guys.
And that'll
didn't hit. Sorry.
That'll be the last mother I talked to. y'all brought in Lamar for half the season, and y'all done paid him. Don't pay me.
Everything.
Yeah.
Man,
that is kind of messed up.
Like,
which is another reason why Lamar's like, yeah, okay, the H with y'all. I mean, so the question is, the Ravens, like, you built everything around this guy. Like, he is like 60+% of your offense, and so if he's gone, you've seen what you look like without him. So what do you do? And if you're going to blow it all up, is now the time to blow it up? And where does Lamar go if they do that? Because franchising him, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to bring him. He's not going to play. He's not going to sign a franchise tag. So what an effect are you doing but alienating him more and still not getting what it is that you want?
What is it that they do want though?
Who the hell knows? It doesn't
What
sound like they
do
want him.
Ravens want?
Yeah, what
Doesn't sound like they want him.
Well, the thing is, from what I understand, is the Ravens ownership is pissed with the Browns ownership.
Okay.
Because
of
Deshaun's contract.
Okay.
But to GM's point, Baltimore, y'all had a chance to extend him before Deshaun Watson ever got a deal. And y'all chose to play around and bullshit. And so now you got to pay the piper.
And that's the market now.
That's simple. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like y'all should have extended that man when he was eligible. Y'all chose not to, and now y'all in a state of purgatory.
I heard somebody on one of the talk shows talking. It might have been Chris Canty or those guys on Get Up in the Morning, and it's like, you think Burrow's gonna have a problem when his time is up? No.
Nope.
You think Justin Herbert, the much maligned Justin Herbert, if you're a Smoke fan, you think
Nope.
Justin Herbert?
He not, no.
Nope. And did Allen have to wait for his? Nope.
Nope.
And it's like, here's a guy.
Wasn't him and Allen in the same draft?
Yep. Exactly.
But see, but they got a discount with Allen.
Exactly.
Didn't they?
They did. They did. But you talk about a guy who won the three quarterbacks I just mentioned, not near one of them have an MVP that they back in their resume.
No.
Our guy, not our guy, but Lamar does. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why? It's like when a person wins an Academy Award, and it's like, well, why are you in that bad? Like, I won an Academy Award. Why do I got to take less? Nobody else is taking less after they won an Academy Award. I got an MVP. Why you treat Kyler Murray got kind of sort of his money in a way. Kyler ain't won no MVP. Russell Wilson hasn't won an MVP. He got paid on a different team.
He did win a Super Bowl though.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, it's like, I have an MVP. I've done something that some of these guys have. Like, to me, winning, I'm not saying winning Super Bowl is easier, but that's a team-oriented situation. Mm-hmm. And when we look back at this,
I agree.
And when Russell won that Super Bowl, he wasn't quite Russell Wilson.
Right. He was
that we knew. Because I guess I don't know what we're seeing now, but
well, I think
he's gonna turn it around.
Yeah, I think he'll turn around too. Bad year, bad coach. Yeah. But to your point, Smoke, it's an early young Russell Wilson, and that defense, that Legion of Boom defense, was number one defense and number one scoring defense, and they beat the crap out of the Broncos in the Super Bowl. But Lamar, to win an MVP, an individual award like that, not only that, but keep in mind, he won an MVP in a league that has Mahomes. Oh, in a league that has Mahomes. Mm-hmm. Okay? In a league that has Brady. A league that has Aaron Rodgers. I mean, guys that have won multiple MVPs, or Super Bowls. This dude won an MVP. And he won it in his third year as a pro?
Was it year 2?
I don't think was it his full second year. Was it second year? Full second year?
I think it was year 2.
No, it was 2019, right?
So it was year 2. It was year 2. He's from a 2018 draft class.
No,
it's a class after Trubisky.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay,
yeah. So year 2. I mean, come on, man, really? And then he gives you a year where he's like, you know what? He didn't hold out. Hey, blah blah blah. I got here, I'm playing, and then he gets hurt. It's like, okay, I see what this is.
Yeah, 2019.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, really? That's how y'all see me? And then it doesn't make any sense because the whole offense is around him. It's structured around what he does. And it was crazy. They're not providing him with the receiving talent that could really help him take it to the next level. He doesn't have a Stephon Diggs. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams. He doesn't have
they traded
Tyreek Hill.
They traded his favorite receiver.
They traded Hollywood. And Hollywood's nice, but Hollywood ain't Stephon Diggs.
Hollywood ain't a number one.
No, he ain't number one in my opinion.
I'm saying he was just his favorite receiver, though. That was his boy.
That was all he had.
Yeah, but
what you hear in the media, they claim Hollywood wanted out.
Yeah, that's fine. Hollywood he's a nice receiver, but he's not Diggs. He's not Devontae Adams. He's not AJ Brown. He's not any of these guys who we've seen them go to teams and completely help transform the quarterback and the offense into something that's, deadly, not just respectable, but deadly. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle make Tua a viable quarterback. Before that, everyone was trying to get rid of him. Even his own organization was trying to figure out how to get rid of him. Now it's like, oh, Tua's our guy. Okay.
And now it's like we might need to get rid of him.
Well, that's how we see it.
Not on a personal, like on some safety concerns. It's weird.
Well, Chris Greer just came out and said he's our quarterback going forward. So we'll see what happens. But to the point is that Lamar doesn't have one of these guys. His tight end is his Tyreek Hill. You know what I'm saying? Andrews is the guy that he's his primary target and has been since, he's pretty much ascended himself as a top tier quarterback. But how's a top 10 quarterback going through this much trial and tribulation? It hasn't hit 30. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Only 25, right?
Yeah, if that. Yeah, because he came out. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, dude. So yeah, he's gonna miss the 40, possibly is, but I don't think Deshaun Watson, as much money as he quote unquote missed for the year or two he sat out, he turned around and turned the market around.
He did.
And he doesn't have an MVP behind him or Super Bowl.
He did.
So Lamar's like, dude, I'm still gonna get my 200 million. Still gonna get my bag from somebody. I don't know who that is, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, if he's not with the Ravens, who steps up to get him? Is it the Jets?
That's the question.
Who needs a?
Is it Seattle?
I've been seeing that lately, of trade.
They get a quarterback, they get Geno, and some other stuff.
Actually, the trade I saw didn't even have.
Wait,
Geno
he's
in
not.
it.
They can't trade him. He's not under contract.
You can sign him to a contract and trade him. I didn't say not tomorrow. I'm just throwing it out there.
That should be interesting. We'll let's come back to the divisional playoffs during picks. Let's move on to the Bulls. All right, last couple of weeks.
Man.
They've beaten the Bucks. They've beaten the Nets. They beat the Sixers without Joel Embiid. They beat the Warriors Sunday night. In that same time frame, they've lost to the Wizards without Bradley Beal and Daniel Gafford. And somebody else was missing.
The tall dude.
We lost to the. You said
no.
No, I'm talking about the Wizards were missing all these guys.
The unicorn, the tall guy from overseas. That the Nets.
Kristaps
Porzingis. Okay,
yeah, Porzingis.
And yeah, we lost to the Thunder. Got blown out. Got the break speed off of us against the OKC Thunder.
We beat Utah in that stretch too.
Yeah, we
did beat Utah, but it's Utah. I'm not really worried about Utah. By the way, I was right. Laurie put it on him.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Yeah. I this inconsistency. I don't get it, man. I seriously don't get it.
But it's not just inconsistency. It doesn't make sense. Inconsistency. It's like inconsistency is like you win 2, you lose 1, you win 1, you lose 2. You're beating the bad teams, you're losing to the bad teams, you're beating good teams. It's like they specifically choose to play down to the competition and lose to them, and specifically raise their game to some level of unbeknownst to us to beat teams like Golden State, who haven't beaten in years, to beat Philadelphia, who haven't beaten in years, to beat the Bucks twice with Giannis, to beat the Nets with everybody. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. It's like a weird, it's not just inconsistent. It's like it's like a psychological mind fuck. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's I don't understand it. Just completely ass backwards.
That's what it is. It's ass backwards. That's perfect. We solved the problem. It's just ass backwards. They're an ass backwards team. That's who they
Then
are.
we got the Pistons tomorrow. Wait, why do we play at 2:00 tomorrow?
They're in Paris.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is the game at 2 p.m.? Okay, I forgot all about that.
The Bulls are taking, for their inconsistency, they get a vacation to Europe.
I don't know what time it is in Paris when they're playing, but it probably has something to do.
Yes, probably 7 o'clock.
7 or 8
Paris.
o'clock.
Yeah. But this team, I don't understand. I know DeMar was out for the last couple of games, but you still should have beaten the Thunder without DeMar. You beat the Warriors
You
without
beat
him.
Golden State without him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Granted, though, Golden State has been hot garbage on the road this year.
True. But
It's
the Bulls have been hot
the world
garbage.
champions, though.
Yeah, and the Bulls have just been hot garbage. So they should
Still the world champs.
cancel each other out.
I feel like these games without DeMar, Zach should be relishing this time and just straight taking over. And I don't know if I've necessarily seen that. He did the Wizards game. He did
First half.
Yeah, what he went. I think he went for 40 in that game.
First half, he was very dominant. Second half,
but then made the blunder at the end of the game where they were down 3, and he thought he got. I didn't understand. He thought he got fouled, so he tried to get the and one, but he was across the 3-point line when he got fouled. So why would you even? You got to take a 3. You're down 3 with 3 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm.
He pulled off his Kirk Cousins impression.
Yeah, you try to make sense out of nonsense, bro.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you can't make sense out of nonsense.
Baffled. But no, it's cool, man. It's cool that they get to go to Paris. If I were the coach, I probably, wouldn't let them partake in the field trip activities, no Eiffel Tower, no shopping, no sightseeing tours, just stay in the hotel and think about what you got to do. That would be my answer for all this. But no, it's cool. I guess the first time that the Bulls have been there since '97 when Jordan and company went for the world championships. You didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, '97, the Bulls. I guess that was back when they had that tournament where all of the professional teams, all the professional league champions,
God, I don't remember
played in
that.
a tournament. Yeah.
Really? The Bulls win?
The Bulls, of course they did, man.
Michael
97 Bulls, man. Yeah.
Pippen wasn't there though, right?
Oh, he didn't play, you saying?
The picture I saw, he wasn't in the picture.
Pippen was not there. No.
That's the ankle.
That's when he decided to have his surgery.
Enjoy his summer.
Yeah. When he said I wasn't messing up my fucking summer. Wow. So it's cool that they get to, go back there. And I guess there are a lot of Parisians.
Sure. Sounds about right.
I'll go with that. That are Bulls fans because of, when the Bulls were there in '97. So it's pretty cool that they get to go back. Coming up, we said we got the Pistons.
So that's gonna be a struggle. We'll probably lose that game.
Got the Hawks after that, I think.
Let's see.
Team in turmoil, so we might win that one.
Pistons, Hawks, and then the Pacers next week on the 24th.
That sounds like 1-2 or 0-3.
Yeah.
Any of those teams significantly over 500?
I think Atlanta is, aren't they?
I don't think so.
Atlanta's one game. Well, they're one game over.
Yeah. So that might be the one win.
I don't know. I don't think that's good enough. That's not in Nets or Bucks territory. So I don't think that's enough for the win.
Yeah, that's what I said.
The two games against them both came down to crazy buzzer beaters.
That's true.
That's right.
They got us with one and we got them with one.
Right. Yeah, so that's 50-50 right there. Yeah, it looks like I said, 1 and 2 for certain, maybe 0 and 3. I mean, I'm sorry, 0 and 3 for what? Yeah, maybe 1 and 2, but most likely 0 and 3. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, I need to see somebody on the roster, on the schedule, like who's good out west, like the Clippers or
they've been good. They've been tripping too. We got them coming up soon though.
Yeah, that might be a win. Or so even if you don't have a good record, if you got like superstars, they rise to the occasion because superstars.
These are next. So we got Pistons, Hawks, Pacers, Hornets, Magic.
Oh, they're definitely losing to the Magic.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Then we got the Clippers.
Okay, yeah. So 1 and 6. There we go. Or 1 and 5.
Definitely losing to the Magic. And they can't beat Dame, so they're gonna lose to Portland on February 4th.
No, they might win that one.
No, they Dame give it to them every time.
So does Golden State.
That's true. They did be going. You're right.
You're talking about previous Bulls team. This year's team, that's
right.
that's the kind of team they'll beat. The guys that have been giving them the stuff all the time. It's just a whole bunch of no-name dudes they lose to.
That might do it. Hey, let's move on. Oh, go ahead.
No, I should say can't beat OKC. Get smashed by them. But you're gonna lose to them twice, but you're gonna beat the Bucks twice. Man, make it make sense. just so make it sense.
Just don't.
Hey, let's move on to picks, fellas. So last week, I had an awful week. I was 0-3.
What? No.
Yeah. Say
it ain't so.
It happens. Smoke, you were 1 and 2. You were actually the lead dog last week. And GM, sorry, man, you went 0-3 too, man. You just like me.
Just falling off. I just fell off. Man.
It's inching closer. Closer.
All right. Actually, I think it's let me see. I think it's a half game lead.
Ooh.
That Glenn has on Smoke. And I pretty much, that 0-3 took me out of it. Well, not necessarily. No, I'm only 2.5 back. So yeah.
I could have nailed this a long time ago. I need to talk to the first half me. Second half me is
all right, so let's do something different this week. Let's just pick all the playoff games.
No. You trying to get back in? No. I see what you're doing.
No.
Yeah. No,
based on my record, I'm going to lose them all, so it doesn't even matter.
I know a con when I hear one.
It doesn't matter.
It's only 4.
He trying to get extra game in. I go, I done caught up now. I'm only 1 behind.
Fine, we'll stay the same. I'm picking first, and let's see. I'm gonna take the Chief minus the 8.5 over Jacksonville. I am going to take the Eagles minus 7.5 over the Giants.
The 7.5?
Yeah.
Is it really? With Caesars?
Yep.
Yeah.
My God, it is. Jesus.
Yeah. And just to prove a point, I'm taking the 49ers minus the 4 over the Cowboys.
See, the Eagle gets in the way. I'm telling you, every time. Pride before the fall. The fall.
It's over. I'm going bold now. Smoke, who you got?
I'm going all dogs.
Wow.
I'm going Giants plus 7.5.
Okay.
Bengals plus 5.5.
That makes sense to me.
And I'm going Dallas plus 4.
All right. Okay. I'm riding with you on 2 of those. I'm with you. I don't know why Cincinnati is getting plus 5.5. Maybe because the offensive line is beat up. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm taking Cincy plus 5.5. But I think Buffalo is going to turn it over enough to keep them in the game. I'm taking Dallas plus 4, and I think Dallas might win it outright. I'm taking Dallas plus 4, and I'm going to take KC. That's my one favorite I'm taking. I just think that Jacksonville is not ready. And if it wasn't for the Chargers charging, Jacksonville shouldn't even be playing this game. So I'm going to take KC, especially at home. And I think and only that, but I think they want to get it done and get it done early so that they can kind of rest up for the AFC Championship game.
They better not rest up.
Well, when I say rest,
thought they had it done early.
Yeah, there's a different competency level in Kansas City than there is in Los Angeles.
Yeah. And it's in Kansas City.
Right. So those are mine. -8.5 for the Chiefs, +5.5 for the Bengals, and +4 for the Cowboys.
Cool. Good luck, fellas. That will do it for this week's edition of the Easy Smoke and the GM podcast. Let's once again thank Anthony Herron for joining us. Good stuff from him. We want to thank you for listening. We greatly appreciate it. You can catch our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find your favorite podcast. You can also catch us at hp53productions.com. There you'll find our podcast and the Father Good podcast hosted by Marshall Givens and Kenny Stevenson, and the Super Duper podcast hosted by Rob Gridge, which I'm about to record in about 2 minutes. Yo, Glenn.
Yep.
Please take us out.
Hey, it's like we always say, we're not saying we're right. We just don't think we're wrong.
We'll catch you next week.